In this video, I'm going to show you how to create your LED lamp piece of acrylic to slot into your LED lamp. In another video, we'll look at creating the base for the lamp using Fusion 360. In this video, I'm just going to focus on the design for your lamp that's going to be lit up by the LED light strip in the base. So first of all, before we do anything, you need to make sure that you've downloaded Adobe Illustrator. If you've downloaded it already, that's great. You can go to your little search menu down the bottom here and you can find it. If you don't have it, what you'll need to do is you'll need to go into your Adobe Creative Cloud. And again, if you click on your little search menu thing there, you can see I've got mine there. But if you can't find yours and you type in Adobe, you'll find it as one of the options there. So you can see I've already got Illustrator downloaded. I've also got Creative Cloud. Now, if you get to this point and you haven't got Adobe Creative Cloud, what you'll need to do is you'll need to go to the Software Center. This is where you download programs from within Iona. And from here, you'll just need to go into the search bar, type in Cloud or Creative or something like that that exists in the title, and then you'll find Creative Cloud there. You'll need to download that first. And then once you've downloaded that, if I go into my Creative Cloud here, this is the homepage. If I click on Apps, that'll have all the Adobe apps that are available to me. So you just need to download Illustrator and you'll be able to do that through your Creative Cloud. So once you've got Adobe Illustrator downloaded, what you'll need to do is, the first thing you'll need to do is you'll need to create a new file. Now, this is a little bit different to like if you're used to using like Word docs or Microsoft apps where you create the file and then you give it a name and save it. With Illustrator, it works best if you create that to start off with and you give it a name to start off with, and then it will just automatically save as you go. So you can see here I've got an A4 bit of paper, I suppose, or an A4 workspace in my recent items. Now, if you've just downloaded Adobe Illustrator, you won't have any recent items. So you've got these headings up the top. Now, Adobe Illustrator is used for a variety of reasons. So there's heaps of different templates that you can select from. But if you want to go to an A4 workspace, if you go to print, you'll find a bunch of, like, I suppose, regular size workspaces like A3, A4. There's this letter one as well. But if you choose A4, then that'll be the same as an A4 piece of paper, the workspace that you're working with, which gives you a bit of an idea of how big your design is going to be. If you choose something that's really big, your design will look small. It'll still work, but I think for this project, an A4 workspace works best. Now, if you want to, you can create a custom width and height for your workspace. But for our project that we're doing today, A4 is perfect. You just then need to give yours a title. So I'm going to call it my first name, Jason, LED lamp, and I'm just going to call this version 1, V1. Now, at the moment, it's defaulted to this measurement called points. We don't want points. We're going to change that to millimeters. Now, that's important because when we're creating key features for our design, we need to know how big they are, and millimeters obviously works probably best for us in this scenario. So once you've done that, you then go ahead and open the file. And you can see here I've just got a blank workspace. Now, what I need to do first is I need to create the border or the outside of my LED lamp design. And I need to, if you remember me saying in class, or if you haven't heard me say this before, when we're going to laser cut the LED lamps later on, the laser cutter identifies red as cutting. So that'll be the outside in most cases. And then it recognizes black as etching, which is basically anything you want on the inside, with some exceptions. You might use red on the inside, but for everything else that you just want etched into your design, that needs to be in black. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create that border. Okay, now you can see I've selected over here on the left-hand side, I've selected a rectangle. And then once I select rectangle, over on the right-hand side, these are the properties of the rectangle that I'm about to create. Now, I'm just going to change the fill. I actually want no fill. And none is that white box with the red line through it. It was already white, and white is different to no fill. So I like to always just start with no fill. But the stroke I need it to be red because I want the laser cutter to cut around this shape. So I choose that red. Now, it's important that you choose that red and not one of these other reds, because the laser cutting software will only recognize that red as being cutting. And if it's not that red, it won't cut, which will be an issue down the track. So I can leave the size as 1 point. If I wanted it to be thicker, I could increase that. If I wanted it to be thinner, I could decrease that. But a point of 1 for the outside is fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to create a rectangle. And this is where I'm going to put my design. Now, if you've got specific measurements you want to use for your design, you can go over here on the right-hand side once you've created your rectangle, and you can put in a custom height and a custom width, or you can just kind of go, have a look, oh yeah, that's pretty good, and you can leave it like that. Now, I like to always round my edges for these designs. You can round them a little bit like so. So I'm just clicking on one of those blue dots. Doesn't matter which one, they all kind of fall into line. So you can make that really round it off, make it sort of like an ellipse, or you can just round it off a little bit. I'm just going to round mine off a little bit in this case. Now, at the moment, I don't have that bottom piece, the bit that's going to actually slot into the LED lamp base. Now, this bit that I'm about to create is really important in terms of the specific measurements that it needs to be. Now, the actual measurement that you need depends on what you plan to do for your lamp base. Probably 100 millimeters is probably a good guideline to go with. But again, if you have something specific that you're trying to create, you might make it different measurements to that. So I've still got my rectangle tool selected. And so I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to create a rectangle. And you can see here I've overlapped my other rectangle. Now, like I said, over here, once you've created the rectangle, I want it to be 100 millimeters wide. And I'm not so fussed about the height because I can adjust that in a moment anyway. So if I press enter there, you can see it creates that rectangle and it is now 100 millimeters. Now, this length here, or the height of that box, essentially the part that sort of goes beyond the bigger rectangle, that's the bit that's going to slot in. So we need it to be reasonably thick, I suppose, so that it slots in neatly and it doesn't sort of fall out. But it doesn't need to be that deep. That depth is plenty. But if you wanted to move it, you can just choose the selection tool up the top, and I can click in there and I can move it up and down, and I can move it left to right so I can make sure it's in the spot where I want it to go. Okay, so now if I was to send that to the laser cutter would cut all around the big rectangle and it would cut all the way around the smaller rectangle. Now that would give me in total 1, 2, 3 pieces. I don't want that. I want all of that. I want that to be one piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of that by just clicking and dragging over the top of it. And you can see now that that is highlighted. Now the tool we're going to use to unite these two shapes is called the Pathfinder tool. Now sometimes when you, I'm just going to close that Pathfinder menu. And now that I've selected that, you can see on the right hand side down here it says Pathfinder. Okay, if you don't see that Pathfinder menu, if you go up to Window and then find Pathfinder in your list, okay, like I am here, it's all in alphabetical order. So go down to P and you'll find Pathfinder. Just tick that, and then you'll see that you've got your Pathfinder tool here. But it should show up like that down there when you highlight those tools. But if it doesn't, you can do that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this first option here, which is to unite these two shapes. So now you can see if I can just close that. I don't need it right now because I had it down here anyway. Now if I click out of that, now you can see the red outline, and the laser cutter is going to cut all the way around that. Okay, so that'll form like the piece that I'm going to slot into my lamp base. So now what you need to do on the inside, we're going to put our design, and we're going to make all of that black, so that the laser cutter will etch that into the acrylic rather than cutting it. You might still wish to have, like, I don't know, a circle on the inside there that you want to, like, basically have a gap in there. And in that case, using red on the inside is fine. You can do that. Just keep in mind that anything that's red will get cut. Now, if I want anything else, so let's say, for example, I want to have text, I can click on text here. I create a text box that I'm going to write in, and this is where I'm going to put my name. Now, at the moment, you can see there, it's pretty small. So just like you can in Microsoft apps like Word and stuff, we can change that size to say 72. I can change the font. I'll just drag that up. I can change the font to something different. And then I can move that text box around if I wish, okay, so that it's in the spot where I want it to go. So at the moment, if I was to send that to the laser cutter, it would cut all these red lines, and then it would etch my name into the acrylic. So that might be a good starting point for you, and then you might decide that you want to do some other designs. So you can use the shapes to create other designs. You might use the paintbrush tool. This works really well with your stylus or with your finger on the screen. Obviously, using a mouse can be a little bit problematic, okay, but you can just draw with that. It even neatens up that line for you when you use Illustrator. So you can kind of come up with any design that you like, and just remember that anything that you do in black will be etched into the acrylic. Now, you may have seen on this version that I showed you earlier, you may have seen I had this image here. Now, I've just copied and pasted this image from the internet, and what I can do is I can put that into my design. So let's say I wanted to have a snowflake in my design. I can pop that in there, and then what I can do is I can get a paintbrush, and in black, I can go over all of those lines, okay? And then if I wish, I can then remove that image, and then anything that's left over, so if I've done a good job of drawing it, anything that's left over there, so those lines will be remaining, and then when we send that to the laser cutter, that will be etched in. So I just did that by copying and pasting that image, dragging it in, drawing over the top of it, and then removing the image. After you've done that, once you're happy with your design, you then need to save it. Now, it already is saved inside Illustrator. We did that when we first created the file. But what you do need to do is you just need to save it to somewhat other location, like a folder that you have on your laptop. And if you do that, it should save automatically as an Adobe Illustrator file type. So just choose your folder, call it, like we did before, Jason Lamp V1 or whatever you want to call that, as long as you know where it is. Save that, and then if you attach that to an email to me, I'll be able to put it onto the laser cutter for you, okay? The next job you need to do is you need to create the lamp base, and I have made a separate video to help you with that. Hopefully this helps you create your LED lamp. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.